is James with the Board Game Network. I'm going to be talking about this game called the Grizzled. It's an Origins Award nominee for this year, 2016, but the award has not been announced who the winner is yet. So this is one in the running of the 5. It's a 2 to 5 player game. It plays in about 30 minutes. It's a cooperative game centered around World War I, the Great War. But it is not focused on the war. It's not about fighting. It's really about the human interaction between those who are in the battle. It's about the preoccupations and the fears, the solidarity, the brotherhood, the mutual assistance that they gave each other. And in the setup, what you do is you take one Grizzled card, and some of these were actual fighters in the war, and you put them so that the 4-leaf clover is face up. Then you take 3 support tiles, that's these tiles here. You take a left and you take a right for each player, and then whatever's left over you mix up and you take one more at random. So you're going to have 3 total. If you have a 2 or 3 player game, you get rid of the double rights and the double lefts and only have rights and lefts. You have the deck here with the peace card on it. That's called your trial deck. You have the deck with the monument on it, and that is called your morale deck. You deal 25 cards on your trial deck or your peace deck here, and then whatever's left goes in this deck. You have speech tokens out here in the middle. If you have a 2 or 3 player game, you have all 5 tokens. If you have a 4 player game, you're only going to have 4 tokens. If you have a 5 player game, you're only going to get 3 of these tokens. Then the mission leader is given this. And that's the first player who's going first. Now let me explain these trial cards, these cards right here. They all have symbols on them, and they're all something that the people, those in the war, might fear. There's shells, there's whistles, which was a sign that the battle was to begin, and gas masks. And then you also notice a different condition weather-wise. You have nighttime, you have snow, and you have rain. So there's 3 objects that you could fear, and there's 3 weather conditions that you could fear. So there's 6 different kinds of what's called threats. You also have hard knock cards, and these also, the trauma cards, will match one of the weather conditions, and the phobias will match one of the object conditions that would make somebody have some kind of fear. Another kind of hard knock is just some kind of text here that explains what happens when you play it. And then you also have cards that have a combination. This is the worst card. It has all 3 traumas and all 3 phobias on this one card. So all of that is going to go into the morale deck except for the 25 original that go on the trial deck. You have this game aid card that helps you remember your 4 phases. You have preparation, mission, support, and morale drop. And the preparation is just dealing out the cards at the beginning, and the leader is going to deal, and he is required to deal at the beginning of the game at least 3. So, and you start with yourself instead of starting with the other players. So you deal 3 cards out. And the reason for starting with yourself is at the end of the deck, it may not be even. So you start with yourself. You may have more than the other players. And so you're dealt a hand of cards. So that is the preparation phase. You do not tell each other, even though this is a cooperative game, you don't tell each other what cards you have in your hand. So you can do one of 4 things. You can either play a trial card, use a good luck, play a speech token, which you don't have any at the beginning of the game, or you can withdraw from the mission and play a support tile, one of your support tiles. I'm going to take 3, a right and a left and a random. Those are going to be face down so you can't see each other's tokens. Each person is going to have 3 of them. The others are going to be out of the game. So, in No Man's Land, I'm going to play one of my cards. That No Man's Land is out the middle where everybody plays. Now your goal is to never have 3 of the same either object or 3 of the same weather conditions. If that happens at any time, then the mission's over and it's a failure. Now the game's not over, but the mission is over. The game is over. In the future I'll talk about that, but if you get to find peace or you find the monument card, then you end up, the game is over at that point. So playing the trial card is one of your choices, and let's say who Felix, he could play, oh, he's got a hard knock card, so he could play the hard knock card. That would be one of your choices for playing a trial card. And that just stays in play. What does it tell him? This is called hard-headed. You cannot withdraw as long as you have 2 or more cards in your hand. So it limits him on when he can withdraw. There are also trap cards, and trap cards have this rectangle at the bottom, looks like a trap. If you play that, then the next card gets dealt off of the threat deck and goes immediately into play. So if this is a hard knock, it comes in front of the player who played this, or if it was some other kind of card, it would immediately go into play. Now a hard knock won't, on this card, won't cause another card to be played. Or not the hard knock, the trap. The trap makes you draw, and if you get another trap, you don't draw again. But you do not get to see what those cards are, so the trap cards are unknowns, and they may end the mission if you get 3 of something out. You'll notice I already have 2 missiles out, 2 shells. The second thing you can do in your mission phase is you can play the good luck charm, and what you do is you flip this card over, and you'll notice that each person has an object on it or a weather condition. So what happens is you flip that over, and then you can eliminate one of those from play out here in the good luck in the No Man's Land area. Now this is whistle, and we don't have any whistles out, so it wouldn't do any good for me to flip that one over. But let's say Gustav, well, his is snow, and we don't have snow either. But we do have nighttime, so Felix on his turn could flip his card over and eliminate this one, discard it to remove it from the game. So that's how good luck charms work. The third option is to play a speech token. Now you don't have any speech tokens at the beginning of the game. You get those at the end of a mission. But if you did have one, what you do is you would encourage your brothers to hang in there and keep working and continue the battle. And what you do is you name one of the 6 threats, and every player who's still in the mission can discard 1 card that has that threat on it. Now if you've already withdrawn, which is the next choice of the mission phase, then you don't get to discard. And so withdrawing is the next choice, and withdrawing, what that does is that says, okay, I'm out, I'm not going to play any more cards. Whatever cards you have left in your hand, just go face down. You play one of these support tokens, you play it face down. You're either supporting to the right or to the left, or if you have a double arrow, to the right or to the left. And you say, I'm withdrawing. So you take no more actions, and all of your hard knocks cards that you have in play are no longer active, so they no longer affect the No Man's Land. So let's say I had this phobia in play here, which is a whistle, and I withdraw. That means there is no longer a whistle out here in No Man's Land. It doesn't count against the other players now because I've withdrawn. So those are your 4 choices during the missions phase. You can play a trial card, you can flip over your card to use the good luck charm, you can play a speech card, or you can withdraw and play a support tile if you have one. Then, if the mission ends if all players have withdrawn, and that would be a success, or if you have 3 of the same threat out, including your hard knocks cards of all active players. If you have 3 of the same threats, so 3 whistles, 3 shells, 3 gas masks, or 3 snow, 3 night, or 3 rain. And that ends the game, that ends the mission with a failure. Now when you end with a failure, you take the cards that are out here in no man's land that have been played, whatever they are, like that, you take them and shuffle them back into your threat deck. You did not successfully complete them. They go back in and you shuffle again. These cards here. Remember, your goal was to get this deck down to no cards. And at the end of the mission, you keep the cards for those people who have withdrawn. You keep their cards and any hard knocks in play. They stay in until the next mission. Then you have the support phase, which is your 3rd phase. And that means the mission has been finished, either successful or a failure. And you look at all of the support tokens. I supported to the left. Everybody passes their support token to the person they were supporting, and if somebody has a majority of that support, then he can discard 2 hard knock cards if the mission was a success, or he can discard 1 if the mission was a failure. So when you're playing these, you'll want to support somebody who has hard knock cards that you want to get rid of, or who has a lot of hard knock cards. The other choice for if you had a successful mission, instead of getting rid of 2 hard knock cards, is you can flip your card from no good luck charm back to a good luck charm if it's been used. And once that has happened, once the hard knock cards have been discarded, if any player has 4 or more hard knock cards in play, then the game ends in a failure. You've lost the game. Then you go to the morale drop, which is your 4th phase, and you add cards from the morale deck back to the trial deck. And the way you do that is you add up everybody's cards, the hand size in the cards in their hands, you add those all up, and with a minimum of 3, you move that many cards from the morale deck back to the trial deck. Then you change the mission leader, you pass that to the left, and whoever the previous mission leader was, he gets a speech token if there's one available. Victory is if you see the peace symbol, the armistice agreement has been signed, you see the peace card, all of these have been used, and all cards in everybody's hands have been used, then that's a successful end to the war. A failure would be if you see the monument card, you've played all of the cards out of this deck. That's a failure. Or if you have 4 hard knock cards in play, that's a failure, 1 person. So that's how you play this game. Once again, it's called the Grizzled. It is not a war game, and I want to make sure that I congratulate these people on their Origin nomination. So tune in to all of our videos here at the Board Game Network.